And now it's time for Windy City Sports Talk. And your host, Ryan Young.
Hello, Chicago! Welcome to this live Tuesday, November the 8th edition of Windy City Sports Talk. I am Ryan Young. For the next half hour, we're going to recap, and we're not in the preview, but you get the gist. Everything in the world of Chicago sports for the next half hour. You can follow me on Twitter at ringside_rep. First day since the Cubs won the World Series that I've been alone. Had my dad in for a couple days. Had Nick Alexson call in, which was great. Scott Beatty was yesterday. He'll be back. I believe we're going to try to do an every other week basis because he's more of the baseball guy. And I love talking baseball. I could talk baseball 24/7, but obviously baseball kind of takes a back, and pretty much after this week, really takes a back seat to a lot of stuff. But not around here, because it just seems like it's fun to talk about the Cubs winning the World Series. Obviously, that's always a thrill. And people, I mean, there's people out there that I'm sure there are people out there that said they're already sick of Cub fans and sick of the World Series. Well, the funny thing is that you can be sick of it all you want, but were you ever sick of saying that the Cubs haven't won a World Series in over 100 years? You know how long the Cub fans, including me, had to hear that from people? So guess what? It's not going to end. Every possible second and chance I get to say that my team is the 2016 World Series champions, I will say it. And this probably, I would say, good chance this won't be the only one I'll get to enjoy. But guess what? I'm going to soak this one in because you never know. That's why my mom, I keep saying I'm buying stuff and I want to buy stuff for just to hang around the World Series. She's like, well, they'll probably win another one next year. I'm like, you can never count on that. Excuse me, and this will only be, there's only going to be one first World Series you get a chance to see. And that could be the one this year, and that is the one this year. So it absolutely, I'm soaking it all in. I bought a hat online. It's in Ohio. I should have it by Monday, so I'm excited for that. As I also ordered my Christmas presents from my parents for them, ordered them. So ordered my little, my great niece Maya's stuff. She's only 2 months old. So bought my dad's present. So you know what? I'm doing pretty good. And I might buy myself a couple more things, too, because you never know. Because there's just something that always looks good on there. Every day I go on there to check, just to make sure. And I might get something else. You never know. But anyway, of course it is, before we get into the sports, you got to get into the politics. I'm not going to get into the politics because I don't care about politics. But there is a presidential election that's going to come to head tonight. Not sure what time. But later on tonight, we'll find out if we'll have a first woman president in Hillary Clinton or or Donald Trump. I don't even know what to explain. Say what he is. And it shall be interesting. I live with Trump supporters. And it has been very, very... When I watched the Republican convention and the Republican convention, that's the only time I really ever got excited because it was fun to see that stuff. Besides that, this has been a long, boring process, and I understand. I'm not getting into politics. It's just a very interesting thing, and I don't know. One way or another, you're going to see people that are happy. You're going to see people that are sad. And you never know. I said today, when I came home from voting, I feel like I committed a felony. Because you just get that feeling that either way you vote, it's not going to be good. Now, if you look at the two candidates, I feel like I'm doing CNN radio here. If you look at the two candidates, the one that has at least some experience of being in the White House is Hillary Clinton. But, of course, everything that goes along with her, with the emails and yada yada. Then you got Donald Trump, who has he's a great businessman, he's a billionaire, and he's still a guy that people look to be just like them, the people person. He's a billionaire, he is not on a normal person's level. And I'm sure after this election's done, after he's being Mr. Nice Guy, I'm sure it's not going to be that way anymore. I said it when I walked in from voting. This country is probably going to go to hell in a handbasket. I'm only 25 years old. I got a lot of life to live. I'm going to live through everyone, most likely, unless you're like 100. Odds are you're going to live through this. But it might not be fun. I mean, there's a good chance I could get drafted. You just never know. It's the kind of stuff you think about. Like, what candidate is going to be... What candidate has a better chance of not running this country into the ground? And you really don't know. So that's the thing that goes through my head this morning. I'm not sure what time this will happen, whenever it does. Even though I voted, I don't think I'm happy either way. It'll shut a lot of people up. And we get back to worrying that the Cubs are World Series champions. Because goddamn, that's taken away from the spotlight. Also, you saw last night, I didn't get a chance to watch the Chris Bryant thing. I know he walked out on Jimmy Kimmel with a goat. And then you saw, then on Jimmy Fallon, you had Rizzo, Zobrist, and Fowler on there. They did great. They were little quick things, so it's great to see the media attention they deserve. Living in Chicago, or playing in Chicago, they get it anyway. So I think it's fairly enough. I'm glad to see it. He'll be on Ellen today. That reminds me, I got to set the old DVR. I think it's on right now. Ellen is on right now. But Chris Bryant's on that. So if you want to listen to me and see Chris Bryant on Ellen, go for it. But anywho, and I believe David Ross is with him too. So past that, so congratulations to them. Great to see the media attention all over, so on and so forth. Now let's shift gears to sports. There was only one thing going on last night. That was the Chicago Bulls. They did battle with the Orlando Magic. The Bulls come in on a 3-game losing streak. Magic come in on a 3-game winning streak. Watched the beginning of this game. Did not watch much of the middle or the end because obviously got to cover wrestling, and Monday's probably the most important night. So I didn't get a chance to really cover much of the of the Bulls game. It was back and forth early, but then apparently the Bulls took it, pretty much brought the hammer down at the end of that game and played extremely well, and they needed to come out here and win this game, and they're back over 500 at 4-3. They win 112-80. Jimmy Butler had 20 points. You saw Dwayne Wade do a very good job also. So I think the team got back on track. That's exactly what they needed. Because now they have, I think they play Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So they're going to have a busy week after the off day today, and then they're back on it tomorrow. So I think that's an interesting point. That needs to come in, and they need to be able to rest up there in Atlanta, and then they go to Miami. I think that's going to be fun. I'm sure Dwayne Wade's going to be amped up for that one. The Heat really aren't that good. So I think they should play very well in that game, and I think the Bulls should be okay hopefully this week. But the defense needs to bulk up a little bit to be able to stop them. They were at least able to do that somewhat last night against the Magic. Now they got to try to continue to do that against the Hawks, who are still a fairly good team. And then you also got to try to do that against a Heat team that's very demoralized, I think, because after losing LeBron James a couple of years ago, and then losing Chris Bosh, and then they lost Bosh, and then they lost Dwayne Wade, both at the same time pretty much. And Chris Bosh really isn't able to play basketball anymore, but that's a young core there in Miami, and I think a team that has a very good opportunity to really build and have a lot of opportunity to try to win basketball games. But I think this year might be a tough year for them. So I think the Bulls got to go in there and play some very solid basketball and prove, hey, we can get the job done, we can win this, and let's do it. So they're back to a game over 500. Now, we didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday because Scott Beatty was on, and really all we did was talk about the Cubs. The weekend for the Bulls. Derrick Rose's return was on Friday. He came out, him and Noah, they got the ovation. Noah got the ovation, like I figured it would be. And I argued with people on social media. I think Noah deserved the standing ovation. And the ovation. There was a mix of boos in there for Derrick Rose, which there should be. I've said it before. He helped this team get to the end, to get to a conference final. They just couldn't get past LeBron James. But then some of the stuff he said when he opened his mouth was the problem. Like he's more worried about walking his kid down the aisle. Well, then let's have the Bulls not pay him $20-30 million a year and let him go walk his kid down the aisle. If he's that worried about it. I mean, you're not out there. I mean, there's people out there defending our country that don't even say that. And you're playing NBA, getting paid millions of dollars and doing that. And like I said, he never won a championship, so he's not a god here. And just because he's Chicago's second son, or whatever the heck they call him, they sit here and act like he's something, and he's not. And all he did was model suits for years. So I've been off the Derrick Rose train for a while. I continue to be, and that's enough said on that. Joakim Noah did a very good job. They came in and destroyed the Bulls. The Bulls were exposed after being 3-0. Great game played overall. I think that if that team really gets together, I think you're going to see them be one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, and might, if they can get on and they can stay healthy. But again, you got to play a full season and then get into the playoffs. That would be such an amazing opportunity for to see Rose and them to contend with LeBron James, because if both them teams are on point and both teams are fully healthy, a Cavs-Knicks Eastern Conference Finals would be great. Now everyone says Toronto, but Toronto never makes it that far. So I think that's the problem there. And now you gotta. So I think that was, but I think that's a pretty good Knicks team. But the only thing is, we've especially in Chicago, have seen the song and dance that they're never 100%. You can never see those two at 100%. So when you put that in there, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think a healthy Knicks team against the Cavs would be a good run. It'd be fun. But of course, you never really get it. So you never really have with Derrick Rose and Noah, because Noah's always been the plantar fasciitis guy, and Derrick Rose has been broken fingernail guy. And really, you put all that into perspective, and boom. So that was on Friday. Then you go to Saturday when they faced the Pacers, and I think they played fairly well. And in the beginning, and then in the very beginning, because after that, the Pacers won by like 30 points. So the Bulls did not look good there either. The defense is absolutely lackluster. It was nothing to be proud of in that game against the Indiana Pacers. It's a team like with Paul George, who is very, very good, and another team that if Paul George can stay healthy and that team can work, I think they also have a chance to be good in the Eastern Conference. And I think the Bulls had a chance over the weekend to face two teams that they could possibly face deep into in the playoffs, and going to be battling for seeds, and they were outmatched. So let's hope that changes as the weeks and the months progress, as we get closer to playoff time, which is obviously a long time away, with the season not even a month old. So that was my Bulls take, and then they come back last night and played a very good game against the Magic, a team that I think you need to beat. They're very young. Aaron Gordon, a very talented player. They have Peyton, I think his last name is. He looked good, but again, they're a young team. I don't expect them to be a playoff caliber basketball team. So I think the Bulls took advantage. They got to win. So they're back over 500, 3 games in 4 days starting tomorrow. And let's see if they can stay over 500 in this stretch. I don't think they're facing anyone real threatening. I think tomorrow night against the Atlanta Hawks could be interesting. And then they'll go from there. So I think the Bulls 0-2 over the weekend. But like we said, come back and get a W on last night. And then on the Blackhawks side of things, they just continue to do their thing. They continue to play extremely well. They had a home-and-home with the Dallas Stars over the weekend. Saturday night, they were able to get a win. I believe it was a comeback win in Dallas. And then Sunday, they had an overtime win. So their streak's at 6 in a row. They're getting ready to face the St. Louis Blues tomorrow night. So I think you're looking at a team that is getting back on track. And I think it's awesome that Sunday at the United Center they honored the Cubs. It was awesome. I like how, and even the Bulls are doing it now. It's more of like the on ice and the on court videos, which is absolutely awesome. And Jason Hayward and Kyle Schwarber and Mike Montgomery and Tom Ricketts were there, and I think it was awesome to see how they were able to tribute the Cubs. I like how that bond is, because when the Blackhawks won their championships, they rolled right through Wrigley Field, especially their first one. I believe they sat on a rooftop that first night. or that game, because I want to say that was a Cubs-Sox game. And everything just fell perfect with that. So I think really you got a very it's very intriguing, and I think, and right now if you're watching Ellen, if you're watching this live, Chris Bryant and David Ross are coming out right now, and I just had to stop it because I'll watch it when I'm done. I still got 15 minutes with you great people, but I think it was great. I think it was a great job to honor the Cubs. They're doing I think, like I said, them two have a very good partnership. John McDonough, who works in the front office for the Blackhawks, worked for the front office with the Cubs for many years, and never when they were really good. I think he was one of Jim Hendry's guys. And so I think that was great, but the Hawks are playing well. I mean, they've won 6 in a row. Now the big test coming up tomorrow night against the St. Louis Blues. That's going to be big. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this team can come about and really play their style of hockey against a very good team. Now, of course, these two teams will be meeting up January 2nd at the old Busch Stadium for the Winter Classic, which I think will be fun. But the Hawks just got to continue to do their thing. I think that right now they're playing well. They're working on all cylinders. Even they got Scott Darling being very good at goaltender, and you also have Corey Crawford doing his thing as well. So I think everything right now clicking for the Blackhawks. Just continue to do your thing, and I think they should be fine. And of course, we'll be previewing that game tomorrow with the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. We won't be in St. Louis. We'll be right here as always. So don't forget about us. So the Blackhawks had a good weekend. So overall I said both teams would be 1-1 and be 2-2. Well, the Bulls went 0-2 and the Hawks went 2-0. So I think I still was right. I just had a couple of the things wrong. So a great weekend, and then the week starts off well with the Blackhawks and no Chicago sports tonight with the presidential. I don't think it's because of the presidential election, but a lot of people will be tuned into that. I gotta watch, of course, with my wrestling. Gotta watch SmackDown tonight from Scotland, which is already taped, but gotta do my thing. And don't forget Ringside Report every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube. Check it out. We're gonna talk some MLB awards coming up as the award season kicks off tonight, and the Cubs there's some Cubs on that list. We'll talk about it. But first, we got the Windy City Sports Minute. This is your Windy City Sports Minute for Tuesday, November the 8th. The Bulls hit the court last night following a 3-game losing streak and snapped that 3-game losing streak against the Orlando Magic, who had a 3-game winning streak. The Bulls win over a final of 112-80. Jimmy Butler had 20 points. Bulls next time on the floor will be Wednesday night in Atlanta against the Hawks. Blackhawks are off tonight. They'll be in St. Louis against the Blues tomorrow night on NBCS. Then the MLB awards begin tonight. Joe Maddon up for Manager of the Year. Chris Bryant is up for MVP. And of course for Cy Young, Kyle Hendricks and John Lester. We'll talk about that as the week progresses. That is your Windy City Sports Minute. Now back to Windy City Sports Talk. We're back here on Windy City Sports Talk. Glad you could join us. It's Tuesday. Still got 3 days remaining this week as we get you set for nothing going tonight in the presidential election tonight. And then both Chicago teams are back at it tomorrow. We'll finally get a chance to talk some Bears on Friday as they try to get to 3-6 and actually almost back in this division in the NFC North. Before we do that, a couple stories. Before we really talk about the MLB awards. I believe Rookie of the Year is tonight. I talked about Scott last night. They just announced the finalists. But a couple of stories first. You knew there would be one. And it's sad to hear in Iowa City a Cub fan died. I think he just died yesterday or today from his injuries. I believe he fell off of a light pole or a post in Iowa City from Illinois. But after celebrating the Cubs winning a World Series, fell and then, of course, succumbed to his injuries yesterday or today. So thoughts and prayers with him. You knew there'd be one, Yahoo, but apparently they were doing. If you saw some videos from the parade and the rally, which part of me regrets not going. And again, I keep saying that it's because I don't like big crowds. I obviously overslept. I woke up at 5 when I was supposed to catch the train. And I fell and I didn't wake up. I rolled back over. That's a dangerous thing. Never roll back over when you got to go somewhere. Get right up. But on 2 hours of sleep, I overslept, and I apologize to Mayor Moo. She's mad at me. She hasn't talked to me. But I got to get to that home opener this year. That's got to be my makeup for it, to see them get the rings in that. Why not? Other stuff, other topics. Some NFL Monday Night Football last night. I don't even know who won. I believe it was the Seahawks. Did the Seahawks beat the Bills? I don't even know. But the big story was Richard Sherman on the field goal. Was it before he even punted, or before they even kicked the ball off? Sherman plowed into kicker, which they're making a big. So they're making a baloo about that, not knowing what's happening, or so apparently that could have cost them the game or whatnot. So a lot of people making some upsetting news about that. Like I said, it was a no call, but apparently they were thinking maybe roughing the kicker, because I believe Dan Carpenter got hurt on the play, but he missed the field goal. So a lot of weird stuff going in with that, But again, Richard Sherman's always been one of them guys. A couple of years ago when the Seahawks won the World Series, he was the Yahoo. And we'll see after that. So, of course, that is that. And that is the... with that, let's talk a little bit about awards. Awards season kicking off. MLB awards. Not sure when they start. They start tonight. I don't think MVP is tonight. But here are your 2016. Let's start with the American League MVPs. Finalists for the American League: Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, and Jose Altuve. Now, three guys you wouldn't think. Mike Trout, I don't think he's going to get it again because he's on a team that really isn't that good. And I mean, but the thing is, if you take a guy off a team, he's supposed to be the most valuable player on that team. Now, Mookie Betts, I think, is going to be the winner. I don't think Altuve's big enough. Boston's a fairly big market. I think they're going to get some votes. For American League. Now, for the National League, this thing is still loading, so I apologize if we're even on the air anymore. We are. But NL is going to be Daniel Murphy, Corey Seager, or Chris Bryant. Now, I'm not being a homer here, but I'm going to say Chris Bryant wins the National League MVP. Okay, and National League, American League Cy Young Award winner. Nominees: Rick Porcello of the Red Sox, Corey Kluber of the Indians, and the Tigers, Justin Verlander. Again, this does not count playoffs, so this is basic. Let's see here. I keep thinking, I guess I gotta get off this page or my this thing's gonna break. But I think you're gonna see Corey Kluber win that. I mean, when you look at the National League and American League, I think when the National League Cy Young Award, when you got a lot of people going to be voting for John Lester and Kyle Hendricks with the Cubs, my gut instinct is going to say that they're going to go with Max Scherzer in that one. Kyle Hendricks pitched extremely well. He had won the ERA title, so I think that's a very great job for him. And I think it's going to be tough for them to stop Scherzer because he's on his own island when you got two guys on the other side that are trying to compete against each other in the same market. So I'm going to say that. Manager of the Year, I think Joe Madden. Again, this is voted before the playoffs. If it's after the playoffs, I say yes, give it to Joe. But I think you got Dave Roberts, who led in his first year to the playoffs, and I'm not sure who the other manager is for the National League. I'm not sure who they are for the American League, but I think Joe Madden has the opportunity to be able to be that guy and to be able to be the Manager of the Year. But I don't think, because he got it last year. I don't know how many guys have repeated as Manager of the Year, but I don't think it's really possible. Because, I know everything that he's done, and he led him to a 103-win season, and 200 wins over the last 2 years. 200 wins over the last 2 years, so he's done a tremendous job. But I think because they do this before, and I don't think, and really, if they counted the playoffs, I think his opportunity to winning that would worsen because of the fact that there's a couple of sketchy plays that almost cost him a World Series. So that's that. That's awards, and of course, I believe tonight's the start of it. And then we'll get into, let's see if I can find out here. I'm going to check my MLB TV or MLB Network guide. And let's see here. MLB Tonight, Ken Burns, baseball. Maybe they don't announce anyone tonight. Does it start? When the heck is it? Players' Choice Awards. Maybe this isn't for a couple. Maybe this isn't until next week. Is it next week? I don't even know. Help me. Rookie, yeah, it's next week. Are the awards. So next week, next Monday's Rookie of the Year. Next Tuesday's Manager of the Year. Cy Young next Wednesday. And that would be MVP on Thursday. So it's next week. They did the nominees this week. So my apologies. And then we'll have Scott Beatty on the following Monday, and we'll talk about the winners and losers. So, but like I said, I don't think the Cubs are going to get the Cy Young. They should be able to bring their first MVP award home in a long time with Chris Bryant. He had an extremely good year, and I think just everything that he was able to do. It sucks that Rizzo wasn't up there. But I still think them two together for a bunch of years is going to be dangerous to a lot of teams. And again, I brought this up a while ago, and people are still continuing to talk about this team has a chance to be a dynasty. This team's built together for another, about till 2000, at least 2020, under such minimum contracts. I think Rizzo makes the most out of all of them, $5 million a year. So I think really they have that opportunity to be such a great team together, and who knows what they're going to be able to do after it. But again, you got to cherish it and take it one championship at a time, and just embrace the one that's going on right now. So, and also another thing, we got about 3 minutes left, the Bears, where football overall, the NFC North has been dreadful. The Lions get a comeback win against the Minnesota Vikings. Then you see the Packers lose one to the Indianapolis Colts. So really, no, the NFC North, you got to think is going to be very quick out of the out as soon as they get in, because it just does not look good for the NFC North. I mean, I get text messages saying, "Oh, Bears still got a chance." They at 2-6, they do have it, and I even said it on here. I think yes, this team has the possibility to be a division contender, but they pretty much got to win out. That'd be 10-6. So you still got to win a game against the Packers, the Lions. You got to win in Minnesota. So I think win out, you get a chance of your division. You lose this upcoming week against Tampa Bay, it's going to be very, very tough to be able to win any kind of division and get back into the wild card with 7 losses. Being the best you could be is 9-7. So, I mean, you don't want to be in the middle of that pack. We'll see. But I think the NFC North right now is ugly. Aaron Rodgers has not had the best year. A lot of people saying mainly because he liked balls a little bit more deflated, and now that they test all that, it's just it's rougher. The Colts, they played very well against them, though, and the Colts beat the Bears, so they've ran through the NFC North. The Vikings now are 5-3, so they come back to the pack. So, I mean, there's possibilities everywhere, and you're not really sure who's going to come out of this division alive, and whoever it is, odds are they're not going to be alive very long, unless you start to see a very hot streak of a team. But it makes the division interesting. You got Detroit, who's always fun to watch on Thanksgiving. They're all of a sudden the hot team, and we'll see if they'll be able to stay that hot team, or if Minnesota will wake up, or if it'll be the Vikings. So only time will tell, as we got a second half of the NFL football season. The Hawks are doing well. They've won 6 in a row. And then you got the Bulls, who finally get back on track. And, of course, tomorrow there'll be hockey, there'll be basketball. There'll be more to talk about, as there's no Chicago sports tonight. You get to sit back and enjoy our country go down the shithole. So enjoy, everyone. Have a good night. Enjoy television. I'm going to go watch Chris Bryant and David Ross on Ellen. Have a great day, Chicago.